Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk to you about the Xbox One X, which was recently announced at E3. We'll be continuing our gameplay from the last video of JHub's 100+. You'll find his channel linked down there below in the description. But today is all about Microsoft and Xbox. And as you all know, I used to play Xbox One, and I was a huge fan of the 360, but have recently become a Sony pony and migrated on over to the PlayStation 4. However, I'm going to say the Xbox One X is a console with a whole ton of promise, and it looks very good, but has a terrible name. I'm going to talk about the name and make some jokes about it here at the end of the video, but let's look at all the good stuff first. They advertised it as the world's most powerful console, which is true, and it's not technically true, it's not partially true, it's not the marketing team believes it true, it's true in pretty much every single aspect. The previous most powerful console would be the PlayStation 4 Pro, and behind that the PlayStation 4. Well, it's got a more powerful processor than the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's got significantly more RAM than the PlayStation 4 Pro, and RAM is a place where consoles tend to suffer quite a lot, and teraflops, which is quite a strange measurement, but they do it just for like raw computing power, which I guess makes more sense for consoles than PC, but it's got quite a lot more teraflops than the PlayStation 4 Pro as well, and overall it's just a lot more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro, which makes it a lot more powerful than the PlayStation, which makes it a lot more powerful than the Xbox One or the Xbox One S, and this is a good thing, maybe even a great thing, because a more powerful console means better looking and better performing games. More power means more graphical options, it means more options in development, it means a longer draw distance, it means better game physics, it means more anti-aliasing, it means a higher resolution, it means a game that would be forced to run at 30 can now do 60 FPS, and that is a great thing. Of course, it's on developers to make the games good, but when you give them good tools and when you give them good machines with good potential, they can do a lot of good work. The console is 4K by default for games, which I'm going to classify as being awesome. 4K is good. I do have some complaints about that I'll put in here in just a second, but 4K is a big push for them, and I think that that's a good thing because 4K TVs are getting cheaper now. They're hitting a price point of mass adoption. People can go to Costco, Walmart, Best Buy. They can buy a 4K TV at a somewhat reasonable price, and I think it's about to hit mass adoption where the prices really plummet and they get down to that under $1,000, under $500 range where lots of people will just go ahead and upgrade to a 4K TV. Netflix is doing 4K, Hulu's doing 4K, Blu-rays and stuff are all doing 4K. So 4K is the way the world is going, and having a console that supports it by default is very good in my opinion. However, I fear, and this is a true fear of mine, that a lot of the new system power is just going to be eaten up by the 4K resolution, because as you increase resolution, you obviously have to use more of your system power, and I think that what that means is that all of the additional power on the system won't be used for better textures, it won't be used for better graphics in a lot of sense, you know, game engines, physics, light rays, stuff like that. A lot of it's going to be used to scaling up everything, which I guess oddly includes textures, even though I mentioned that, but just scaling everything up to 4K, running it at 4K, running at 4K 60. I like 4K, but I might sometimes prefer 1080p 60 FPS with higher graphical options, and you know, there's some trade-offs there. Some people may or may not like it, and for me as a content creator, 4K feels a little bit early on my end because it's incredibly difficult to capture 4K gameplay. Editing 4K gameplay kills most editing softwares. Uploading it on YouTube means 4 times bigger files, means 4 times longer uploads, which means much more difficult streams, and honestly only a small percentage of the audience can watch it right now, but that's what I was talking about earlier. 4K is just about to blow up, it's about to go global, it's about to hit mass adoption, so Microsoft wants to be ahead of the game. They've been playing catch up with Xbox One for a long time, they've been getting kind of crapped on by Sony, and this is their attempt to say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and leapfrog Sony, we're going to go further into the future and try and get ahead of them, above and beyond them, and I think that this is definitely heading in the right direction. Another thing I noticed off the bat that was unusual is that there's no Xbox One X exclusive games, which is kind of spooky to me because all Xbox One games are going to currently, or that come out, are going to have to run on 3 concurrent systems. They're going to have to run on the original Xbox One, and then the Xbox One S, which is slightly more powerful, not tremendously, but slightly, a lot of technicalities there, and then the Xbox One X, which is significantly more powerful and has 4K. What I'm kind of afraid of is that they are going to design all of the games around the Xbox One because they have to run on the original Xbox One, and the Xbox One X version is going to be the same game but maybe with a few better options and like the resolution turned way up. I would rather not see that happen, but that's something that happens very commonly in design. If you're designing for multiple platforms, multiple systems, multiple requirements, you design it for the lowest common denominator. In this case, that would be the Xbox One. I would honestly almost rather see Xbox One X exclusive games, because you could do a lot more with the power, than I would seeing just Xbox games that run on the Xbox One X. But I understand that would alienate a lot of fans, that would piss a lot of people off. They wouldn't want to rebuy the consoles, but it could be a huge waste of the console power. I don't know the mathematics behind it. I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but I don't want the Xbox One X to just be a 4K Xbox One. I want it to be an Xbox One that runs in 4K and still has power left over for better graphics and stuff like that. Of note, there was no mention of virtual reality, Oculus, HoloLens, or any sort of altered reality compatibility. Microsoft already announced that Scorpio would have VR games. I think they announced a partnership with Oculus, or they've been speculating and leaking and rumoring all this kind of stuff, and HoloLens this and altered reality that. And there have been some official statements that they're doing these things, but all of these things were oddly missing from the press conference today. Were they canceled? Were they delayed? Is it being saved for a different reveal? I personally don't know, but they weren't part of the press conference, and that kind of disappointed me, because I wanted to get some VR on my Xbox One. I really want VR to hit big, like mass adoption. I already got PlayStation VR. Why can't we have Xbox VR? I'm guessing it's just going to come later in the cycle. And finally, let's talk about the name. The name is easily the worst part of the console. The console is well designed in a lot of ways, but it is very poorly named. We started off with the Xbox, now called the Xbox Original. We leapfrogged 359 generations to Xbox 360, and then we have the Xbox One, which is what we were calling the Xbox Original. Now we have the Xbox One X. God, it's too confusing. And now you have the Xbox One and the Xbox One S for small, and the Xbox One X for extreme, I guess. And I have a feeling there's going to be so many parents that are going to buy the wrong one for their kids. They're going to go to the store, and you know, their 8-year-old's going to like, Mommy, Daddy, I want an Xbox One X for Christmas. And they're like, okay, and they go to the store and they look and they're like, Xbox One S or Xbox One X? Oh God, what was my 8-year-old with a speech impediment talking about? Or, you know, so many gifts and so many, anything that you can easily screw up in the English language with like X and S and ghost and ghosts and things like that. Call of Duty example here should be avoided in a marketing team. That kind of bothers me. Or the crazy kind of thing is that if it's the Xbox One X, it's the XB OX or Xbox for its initials, or the X1X for initials, or I'm sure you've already seen the triple Xbox, or my personal favorite was the COD joke, the quickscoper, the Xbox XXY. Like, it's gotten a little bit silly. We could definitely have a better name for this system. So somebody please tell Microsoft how to properly name a console, because it's gotten very absurd at this point. So overall, final opinion, summary of the video is, tons more powerful. Is it the world's most powerful console? Absolutely, in every single technical sense and just literal truth, it is an extremely powerful console. My concerns being, I didn't see VR, the name is dumb, and I don't want it to just be a 4K X1. I want it to be an X1 that does 4K and has awesome graphics and stuff like that on top of it, but only time will tell how that's going to pan out. Guys, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the thoughts, the content, anything else about it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.